Well, day 2 of the trip. So far, car's doing really good. Really cool thing is, car's been doing about 27.9 miles a gallon. I did have one issue, and like I showed you a little bit ago, it was with the tire hitting the quarter panel. Some of the spots on the interstate have a pretty good dip after some of the bridges, so you just got to watch out for that. So, it's kind of a straight shot to California, but I think what I'm going to do, because I'm streaking straight across on 80, but I made such good time yesterday that I think I'm going to go make a detour, because right now I'm in Cheyenne, Wyoming. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to zip down to Denver and then come across 70 and then get before I head back up to Salt Lake City, because that's where I'm going to end my day, is I'm going to go to the Arches National Park. I think that'd be some awesome scenery to take pictures of this. So just kind of, one great big mega trip, I mean, there is no real rhyme or reason to the trip. I just want to go. I got the time, I got the money, and the opportunity to go. So yeah. So anyway, obviously things like this aren't going to be, happening all the time, but I've got big plans for the channel. So at this point, I would like to direct you to, I do have a Patreon started. So if you guys want to donate to the Patreon, really nothing that I can offer you at the moment, but the basic idea here is going to be taking and basically saving that money up for like little trips. Got a big project around the state of Iowa that I want to do, and then I'll expand out from Iowa to other states if the project's successful. I want to get a chase car for this, so I have, this is the car that's the focal point of the video series, but I'll have another one, and then I'll just have my kids drive it, basically. And I'll attach cameras to it and this, and it'll be a pretty cool endeavor, I think. It would be really neat watching this and another one nearly identical to it rolling into town. I think it would be pretty cool. Basically a good calling card. So as far as am I going to wash the car? Probably not until I get to California, just because I have the whole week in California, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing other things that I don't really have the time to do. And here I am wanting to take a 2.5 hour detour out of my way, because from here to Reno is about 6.5, 7 hours, and I will make myself an 8.5 hour drive. So by taking my little detour. Anyway, car's running really good. I can't really complain about it. The comfort is pretty nice. My only one gripe is I do not have much room in here. So I did want to take my computer and a couple other things, and I ended up forgetting a bunch of stuff for my GoPro, or for my GoPros, because they were in my computer bag, but I didn't really have enough room for my computer bag, and the potential for buying stuff for friends and family, on my trip. So but anyway, in the future I'll be a little bit more mindful on that stuff. But as it is right now, car's doing really good. Getting a lot of looks. I mean, it's not just a Corvette, it's my Corvette, right? And it is a very, very noticeable creature when it's running around town. Anyway, that's all I got for right now. So I'll check in with you guys here in a little bit. I'll probably check in on my next stop. I do got to gas up before I leave town this morning. I've been stopping every half tank, which which is doing pretty good. You know, I don't want to be in the desert and or in the mountains, nowhere to go, and there's no gas. So, you know, that's general rule of thumb when I'm traveling long distances. I stop every half tank of gas. But this thing gets such good gas mileage. A half tank of gas takes several hours. So, I mean, unless you're up for it, unless you're up for the juggernaut style driving like I am, my family's, you know, they're all truckers. So, and my day job, I drive. So driving this is not quite the biggest pain in the butt as some people might think it is. But anyway, it's like 55, 58, somewhere in there degrees right now. Obviously not very crazy as far as the location. It's not a very scenic location. But it was like a $60 hotel with my points. That's something that you guys, if you guys stay around for work and stuff like that, definitely hit up them points systems, them points programs. A lot of the reason why I'm able to do this and go out of my way and stuff is because I have a lot of points from miscellaneous hotels. So yeah, anyway, enough yammering. Let's get back into the video. After gassing up in Cheyenne, we head south on Interstate 25. Interstate 25 takes us to Denver, Colorado. The really interesting thing about Denver is they have, civilization. And civilization, you can find, cords and power cables for equipment that you forget at home. So I was able to pick up some cords and everything for my GoPros and set out and properly film this excursion. So I get on Interstate 70 and I head west. The really cool thing is about Interstate 70 is it goes through Glenwood Canyon. I said Glen Canyon earlier in the video. Don't worry about that. It's just a brain fart. But anyway, going through Glenwood Canyon is, oh my gosh, is one of the most spectacular views you're going to ever come across. There's dams, there's rivers, there's canyons, there's cliffs, there's gorges, there's rock sides, there's mountain valleys, there's snowy peaks, there's forested mountain sides, there's deserty looking areas, there's all sorts of stuff. There's tunnels, there's roads that wind in and out of each other, there's railroad tracks, there's everything you can see. It's a smorgasbord for the eyeballs and the psyche. It is a gorgeous, not only feat of engineering to get through this area, but also magnificent structures that have been created over the millennia by nature itself. So it is a fantastic area to go through in the country. Colorado, you got her going on. So one thing that I find fascinating about this is each turn on this stretch of interstate, each turn you go around is another breathtaking view. I mean, it's like a fireworks show with only a couple of duds. You know, every time you watch a fireworks show, you're like, that one wasn't kind of, there's only a couple. Everybody's going to find something that they like. Unless you really don't like being on the road and really don't like being outside, you're going to love it. You're going to love this. If you don't like driving, obviously the up and down is going to be really, really out there for you. But the really cool thing is, the truckers just, you can tell the local truckers versus the, oh my goodness, I've never been through here in my life, truckers. But the really cool thing is, I think that everybody should go through these areas of the country. There's so much to see. You can see so far, depending on the day. When I was out there, it was beautiful, but depending on the day, you can see so far. And depending on the time of year, there'll be snow on the peaks, and it'll be absolutely gorgeous. Honestly, going through the Rockies when it's snowy kind of sucks, so just kind of plan your trips accordingly. You definitely don't want to go through there when it's November or December. Unless you've got a vehicle that's equipped for it, you definitely don't want to be driving a Corvette through the Rockies. Yeah. Anyway, that being said. So the car did fantastic on these roads. It did not give me any fights. It didn't fuss. Nothing, right? The car rode out good. I didn't have any other striking phases where I had an issue with the fender hitting the wheel or hitting the tire like I had. The roads are a lot smoother. Obviously Colorado does a pretty good job of taking care of these stretches of highway, so that's good. That's good, and I imagine that they've got a bunch of money going in there to that. So anyway, there's a few pull-off points, and I do show you a couple of those. The really cool thing about these pull-off points is there's hiking trails and stuff around them, so it's not just like a truck stop or a rest area in Iowa where you've got a bathroom and a vending machine. You've actually got something you can actually go do. You can park, you can go out and you can walk out into the mountain, you can go fishing, all sorts of stuff that you want to do there, right? And the really, really beautiful thing about this is all the water out there is just so gorgeous. This first pond that I pulled up to, this lake, this first lake I pulled up to, you could see probably 20 feet into the water, and it was, at first I thought it was pretty shallow. It was actually fairly deep, but the water's so clear you can see where all the fish are and where they aren't. And I'm sitting here, there ain't any fish over here, and I went over to the deeper spot, threw a little pebble in, and whoop, there comes all these trout. It is really, really cool. Really cool. Like I said, there's a feast for every sense out here in this area of the country. Please, by all means, get out here. Let's go. I think one of my favorite parts of the whole trip, though, is it's got to be going through these tunnels. Now, the really cool thing about the tunnels is when you transition from the dark tunnel area to just coming into the light, it just like pops obviously your vision's going to try to readjust. It's just like, bam! Depending on the time of day, I'm sure it's not the greatest part. Traffic actually wasn't too bad. I'm not sure if it was just the time of year, but I was kind of heading out to California toward the tail end of peak tourist season, like the people that want to go out there for warm weather. So I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it, but I filmed this around the end of September, or beginning of September, end of August. So it was just kind of, the summer rush was gone. So, and I kind of like to travel big trips around that time of year, just because it's just way easier. Everything's a lot cheaper. You're not getting into crowded hotels. But anyway, if you plan your trip right and you go with points and stuff like that, sometimes you can build up enough points after a couple of vacation trips here and there, that you can build up points. That way you can, if not get a free room, definitely get to the point where you are reducing the cost of your rooms with the amount of points you have, like Hyatt's, Wyndham, Hilton's, that just because there are subsidiary brands of those types of hotels. That's like Hampton Inn, Baymonts and stuff like that, or Wyndham's, and you've got Hampton Inn, I think, is a Hilton. But anyway, you guys get the point. You guys pay attention to your rates and everything, and you'll be fine. A lot of times it's easier to get a rate when you walk in, and you get a hotel. You're just kind of, I'm just gonna go and walk in and just get the best rate that I can. A lot of times they won't advertise, or they'll price match. I know that the Hyatts do that. You know, they price match. You know, so if you go on, let's say, I don't know, I don't use vacation sites, but anyway, I usually call and get the best rate I can get anyway, because I have corporate accounts and stuff. But anyway, that being said, and I'm a commercial driver, so you know a lot of hotels have that too. So if you got a commercial driver's license, definitely, you know, take that into account, because a lot of places will give you professional driver discounts. Another thing about that, you know, really cool. But anyway, you know, like Priceline or whatever, you go on Priceline, you can go on, you know, call up, don't go on the app, but call up the hotel specifically that you're thinking about staying at. And I know I've done that before, and I was able to get about 10% off and some points, you know, depending on what hotel that I'm staying at. So this first area that I'm pulling up on is a scenic area, parking for the Wheeler Lake and Gorge Range in Frisco, Colorado. Really cool place. This here is where there's a couple guys fishing, and you know there's rocks all over there that are really cool. You can see some poplars in the valley changing. You can see the outcroppings of rocks. You can see, yes, obviously there's been people there and all over the place. Colorado does a pretty good job of keeping their stuff clean. There's very little trash in any of these rest areas. People are very respectful. You know, it's a wonderful experience. I mean, you can go out there and start hiking. Obviously, this valley here, just a feast for the eyes. You're not too high up where, you know, you're like, oh, I need an oxygen can or whatever. I mean, if you got health issues, you may have a situation where that might be the case. So I'm not trying to, you know, poke fun, but anyway, yeah. The peace and quiet of the mountains. The water's crystal clear everywhere around here. You got the Colorado down the way, the Colorado River, I should say, down the way. I don't hear any traffic up here. The hustle and bustle of city life, you don't even notice because you're so far away you can't even hear it. Hardly anybody here. It's a beautiful trail. It's kind of an undiscovered trail, to be quite honest. Cool. Nice little rock face up there. Scotch pines. Ooh boy, pretty trees. Blue spruce, gorgeous tree. Oh man, that sucker's nice. Scotch pines. Aspen trees up there on the higher peak there. Mushroom or something. Lots of mushrooms growing around here though. Oh, that's a cool rock. That's cool. All natural rock formations, not a thing up here that man has touched. Probably the first person that's been up here ever in the history of all humanity. It's amazing. This is what I came over here for. Pretty cool. There's wildflowers. Have them in the Midwest too, some of them. You have to watch your step because there are critters out here. That is serious. Nice little pond. Probably is fish in there. The deeper parts. Be able to win them. Yeah, I bet there is fish in here. Things that is fairly deep. This is cool. The pine trees around here live a hard life. Some aspen trees right there. Really interesting thing about this is the Glenwood Canyon area. You know, some of these cliffs are 2,000 feet above the Colorado River. So I mean, you get in there. You're upriver of the Grand Canyon, guys. Just so you know. That's totally cool. So back on the road, you know, I'm cutting down a lot of the video that I did take of this area. Now this video in particular, this segment of video here is really, I mean, unfortunately, because I was filming with the GoPro, bada bing, that C-130 that just flew over, oh my goodness, that thing was super low. I mean, it's not super low, but it was pretty low. And then you got this this little red sports car that I just passed. It just really, the airplane, there was so much going on. I really had a hard time picking what I wanted to cut from the video and what I didn't want to cut. You know, like I said, everything was going on down here. This was a perfect time to travel through this area. You know, there wasn't any snow. There wasn't any, I mean, there was no wind. It was gorgeous. And the time of day that I started out, it was just unbelievable. Now, when you are driving across country like this, you just, you know, I said this in the last video. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again and again and again and again. Make sure you're checking your fluids. Make sure you're keeping an eye on systems. And, you know, especially with my tire situation, my tire rubbing situation, I knew what the cause was, ish. I mean, I still suspect it's a shock, you know. But anyway, at the time, I didn't know what it was. I knew it wasn't a broken spring. But the really interesting thing is, I did notice that the rubber pads for the spring had basically disintegrated on the way out there. So that was one cause. Another cause was the shock, obviously. But yeah, I'm just keep an eye on things. Stop driving if you are unsure whether your car can make it. And when you pass certain key features, like, you know, the upturned cliffs and stuff, you can see the fault lines, and you can see the strata layers, you know, the earth, the layers of dirt piling on each other. That's really cool. And the further out west, the more pronounced all that is because you don't have as much vegetation covering that area up. It's really cool. Now, interestingly enough, there is one little area in between, you know, when you just leave Denver and before you get to Utah, there's one little bowl area where it just kind of gets flat, and this is kind of where that's at. There's a few towns in this area, and, you know, it starts to get a little bit more tolerable to, you know, road building and, you know, railroads and stuff like that. It is pretty cool. You know, one thing you'll see, like off to the left or right, you know, it doesn't matter. When you look off to the side of the road, you'll see these stripes of vegetation, you know, in the mountainside. That's usually, you know, like they're building gas line or something there, or you know, what have you. Anyway, pulling off to the second rest stop. This one here. So here I am pulling into another rest area. I had, you know, it's a bathroom break. Last place did not have a bathroom, so this one here, I knew had a bathroom. Unbeknownst to me, it was porta potty, but whatever. Anyway, it's seated along Wilmore Lake, and it's called the Edwards Rest Area. As I found with the previous rest area, this one also was very well maintained. There was very little in the way of trash, other than things that, you know, obviously, you know, floated away from somebody's car when they were getting in and out. But for the most part, pretty clean. Basically, is what I did is I cut through Colorado instead of heading through no man's land in Wyoming, and it's paying off. I kind of like how things are oh my crikey, gold. Look at that, gold. Let's give it to the trout. I've noticed when you throw stuff in, trout just kind of like pop up and just kind of come over and check it out. Nothing. So anyway, yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun. It's pretty cool. So anyway, going to California. California is the destination, so we're gonna be going to California. But yeah, I've got my big camera. I've got a couple of GoPros. Of course, I parked by the porta potty. But I've got a couple of GoPros, and yeah, so I smelled my arch nemesis. There's bay leaves around here, and that doesn't do very good for me. It makes me basically makes it kind of feel like you've run a 400-mile marathon. I hate bay. Anyway, it's a tree. But anyway, so far, car doing pretty good. My only issues, like I've talked about a little bit ago, I am hitting the top edge of the tire here, and you can't really see it, but anyway, it's just rubbing on the inside edge of the quarter panel, and it's now doing it on this side. Now, the reason why it's doing that is, well, frankly, this is the problem. My car's pretty low as it is, and if I put some weight in it, it takes my my grace buffer zone here as far as this being able to the suspension rebound, and it makes it to where I have a strike. But anyway, because obviously, you know, driver sitting in the car, a little bit heavier on this side. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So far doing good. The only thing I've noticed as far as the car running hot or anything, it hasn't run hot or anything. Nothing crazy. Going through the mountains has been pretty decent for it. You know, obviously this is the first time I'm taking a C4 Corvette through the mountains, so it's a little bit of a learning curve trying to figure out what gear you want to be in going up the hill. Going down the hill ain't so bad, but you know, you're like, come on, power band, where you at? Let's go. yeah, as far as that's concerned, that's just what we're dealing with. But anyway, yeah, so let's get on the road. So after getting back on the interstate, you know, that obviously you're getting to a situation where, you know, you're in this little flat area. It's not really a valley or anything, but you know, there's a fair amount of highway, interstate, you know, that you can travel on where it's relatively straight, relatively smooth. You know, the other lanes are obviously within, you know, you can look over and see them, whereas before, you know, you couldn't because they were in the valley below you. But you know, you eventually get back into a few canyons, and then it starts getting back, you know, how it was in, you know, when you first started getting into the area. However, it's drier in this portion of the area, and so now you're going to start seeing, you know, more stunted vegetation. It's not going to be like the mature yellow pines and everything. It's not going to be anything like that. You know, you're going to be, you know, basically looking at, oh man, this is kind of looking like Death Valley or something cool, you know, but you know, kind of like what you're looking at right now. But you know, a little green on one side, a little brown on the other side. And that has a lot to do with how the rain comes across the mountains. You know, a lot of times, you know, rain will get stuck in one area of the side of the mountain. It'll rain on one side, the clouds are too heavy to go up and over the cloud. The rain's too heavy. You know, the clouds are too heavy to go up and over the mountain, so they have to basically shed some weight and go up and over, and that's how a lot of that goes. A lot of people don't understand that. They're like, why is it so green on one side and the other side it's a desert and doesn't get anything? That's the grossly oversimplified version. That's why that happens. As with the previous segments, before I made my first rest stop, You know, there are amenities along the way. There are still some small towns. I'm cutting a lot of this stuff out. That way you guys aren't like bored to death. But anyway, look at these canyon walls. These are fantastic. And then on the left side of the interstate there, you have a little river valley, and it is just really cool. Like I said, around the turn, that's where you're going to get your spectacular views. As I'm coming around this corner here where it's telling me I'm going way too fast, I'm not. But anyway, as I'm telling you I'm going too fast, you can see the mountains bending around the corners, and that's where you're going to get your photo shot, you know, your photo ops and everything. And I'm glad I have my GPS where I do, because it's got a little bit of a shadow right there in the middle of the road, which is really nice. When it comes to driving on this stuff here, you know, yes, you're driving across country. You want to get there quick. You want to do whatever, you know. You want to get there and have fun. Make sure that you're driving with your head on a swivel. You know, especially when you're in a small car like I have here. You got to drive for everybody else. There's people that just don't have the same road etiquette that you do. Yes, you want to make sure you're staying away from the biggest guy, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you are not getting in anybody's way. So, I mean, you're small. You can kind of get overlooked, especially when trucks are kind of, you know, make sure you're looking in your rearview mirror, because you don't know if there's a truck barreling down on you, and you got to get out of his way. Obviously, don't act preemptively, because you know you don't want to get into a situation that you know it is what it is. Anyway, if you look up here down to the left on the bottom of the screen there, you can see where the other lanes, the eastbound lanes of Interstate 70, are underneath you. I mean, they're not really, but they're down the hill from you. You're over them. It is phenomenal out here. The really cool thing is there's dams and everything along the river. There's plenty of things that you can stop and go do. It may not look it, but I'm actually going downhill, and I've been going downhill for quite some time. I've been going downhill pretty much since right before I made, well, that really long tunnel before the first rest stop that I hit. Then I've been going downhill the entire time, which is really cool. Make sure you got some chewing gum, because it's just gonna be what it's gonna be. And the crazy thing is, I cut out a lot of this because there was a lot of truck drivers that were just flying past me. I wasn't going super slow or nothing, but man, some of these truckers passed me like I was standing still, and I'm like, well, that guy has gone down this mountain about 10 or 12 times before. You know, and some of the truckers, you know, you get beside them and they'd, you know, try to turtle race you, basically. It may not look it, the camera's kind of compensating, but it was fairly dark in this tunnel, and I couldn't, I mean, it is lit, but the camera is really deceiving you here. So just kind of keep that in mind when you do go in these tunnels. Some of them are a little bit darker than others, but you know, it is what it is. The light at the end of the tunnel It's just so cool when you just pop out of the other end of the tunnel, and the tunnel reveals everything, and you've got this spectacular mountain view in front of you. You got the plateaus and the mesas and everything, and you're in this other alien world, and it's just unbelievable how much this just, it welcomes you in. At the same time, you're like, this place is inhospitable to life. It is like looking at the surface of Mars. It's depending on who you talk to, they'd probably say this is where, you know, they take the Mars rover pictures. And there's no trees out here on this side. Before, when we started out, there was trees everywhere. And look at this, there's no trees now. You're starting to get into the old west. I mean, look to the right, there's some trees. Okay, yeah. But anyway, you got the rock fences. And if you pay attention, you can see some scorched out trees, burned out husks of trees. Off to the left, there was clearly some deforestation from a forest fire from not long ago. Man, it is just truly amazing that they put a highway through here, let alone a railroad. There's a railroad along the stretch too. So I mean, if you look to the left or, you know, the right on some sides, there's a railroad. I'd let you listen to the car, but unfortunately I was listening to music. And all of it's copyrighted, so I don't want to get nailed for that. But the music playing in the background should be just fine. Anyway, come up over here here in just a few moments, and there's just a huge train. And just, it had like 8 locomotives on it or something. It was unbelievable. And then it had a locomotive in the middle, a couple locomotives in the middle, and then another one. I was like, good Lord. But you got to keep it real, though. I mean, you got to understand, they are pushing up a mountain, and they got to have these locomotives. I mean, just think of the power that is pushing all that freight up the hill. All so you can have your Amazon Prime. Yeah, pretty cool. Those of you who can pick up the sound of the dog and the cat is tormenting the dog, and the dog is being offended by the cat. I love animals, but sometimes you just want to kick them out the door and say, good luck. It's like, stop. It's like, quit picking on your brother. Just is what it is. Anyway, so we're going downhill. We've been going downhill for a while, and I made mention earlier in the video that I was going to get a chase car for this car so I can do videos like this. Now, the reason why would be on situations like this, where I'm on a 4-lane or whatever, on a 2-lane, I can have the chase car pass me, slow down, pass me, slow down, pass me, slow down. That way I can get some better shots, some better angles. Or I can have the chase car run ahead of me, stop, set up a camera, and then I can drive past, you know, stuff like that. You know, I've done plenty of filming and stuff like that. You know, I know what I'm doing with this stuff. I'm trying not to be too pushy with the videography or anything like that, you know, right off the bat, because, you know, I mean, I know some people just, I'm just me, right? I'm the only one editing this. I'm the only one filming this for the most part, and I'll say, con somebody into doing it for me. You know, I'm the only one doing it. But anyway, that being said, I do like filming. I do like doing work with video and stuff like this. You know, I like editing this stuff. Until I figure out what I want to do with the video series, will depend on when and how I'm going to do this, which, you know, it is what it is. I know that you guys, those of you guys who have suffered through this up to, what are we up to, 40 minutes now, 45 minutes. Those of you who have suffered through to 45 minutes, you guys, let me know. What do you think from the videos that I have made so far? What do you think? How do you like the styling? You know, what key things do you, because right now I'm just playing, right? The different video, like the first video is different from this video, and the third video is going to be different from this video. I'm just kind of trying to feel out what I like best and what you guys respond to best. So give me your criticisms, you know, whether you like it or not. This here was filmed, you know, this dash footage here was filmed with a GoPro Hero 4, and the external video was filmed with a GoPro Hero 8. The next video, which is going to be in Utah, that's going to be all with the 8. Well, for the most part, because the 8 died and the memory card filled, and yeah. But anyway, that being said. So anyway, guys, give me your constructive criticism. I'm not going to be offended by anything. Just let me know what you think. And, you know, whether you know anything about filming or not, you know, let me know what parts of what video that you like, or stop here and go to that video that you remember watching. Critique me on it. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. It's only gonna make this channel a little bit better. That way, it's more appealing to people down the road. So if you haven't noticed yet, we're getting close to getting out of Colorado, and we're getting close to the Utah border. And I went to Arches National Park. There's a lot of video left, but not much if I went to Arches. You see, the thing is, I didn't really want to cut out a lot of this because of the simple fact is, I mean, I saw this airplane fly by that was super low. I saw all these different valleys and tunnels and all sorts of stuff, and I wanted to share all this stuff with you guys. I was that, you know, just like, whoa, blown away by it, right? The interesting thing about all this is, you know, I mean, I did this because I wanted to do it, yes, but I also wanted to take you guys with. I mean, we're all on this ride together, right? But the only bad thing is, I know that a lot of people are just going to be turned off and, you know, just go, oh, I don't want to watch a 45-minute video about, you know, some guy yakking about a vacation. It is a vacation, but, you know, I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to take us all along with, right? So when I say, you know, we or us, I'm talking, hey, we're all here. We're going on the we're going on the ride in my favorite rocket ship. But anyway, I do cut this video up into 2 pieces. Just for the simple fact that, yeah, I do not want to bring myself to cut up the videos from Arches. The lighting was absolutely gorgeous. It was unbelievable. But anyway, in the second part of this video, it's going to be going into Utah. So we're cutting this video off at the Utah sign, and we'll pick her back up in Utah. And the beautiful thing is, the next one, I'm not going to be talking so much. I'm not going to be making a lot of commentary about much. But what I am going to do is I'm going to share the experience with you guys. I'm going to tell you what I thought as I'm driving around. And, you know, just, it is... This next video is utterly remarkable. I love how God just basically set this one up. It was gorgeous. You couldn't have asked for a more perfect day. The temperature was great. No wind. It was, oh my gosh, the lighting. You guys are going to love it, right? And I was better prepared for the second day. Or the second part of this trip. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do like the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, share, and I do have a Patreon that I've been talking about. And the Patreon's, the purpose behind the Patreon is so that, you know, on future endeavors like this, you guys can help me pay for gas, or, you know, you can help me pay for parts to keep the car going. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the trip so far, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.